Daf Yomi, Tractate Menachot, page 56, top of the page. The Rabois Seire Avodah Zoreh Lesmicho. The term of the goat serves to include the goats brought as communal sin offerings for idol worship and the requirement of placing hands on the head of an offering. Maskif lo Rabino, Tenich la Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Ma'igel Meimal. Ravina objects to this. This works out well according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says that the offering of Nachshon was included in the requirement of placing hands on the head of the animal. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, what is there to say? Why should the Torah write the term it, since there is no reason to assume that it would require slaughter in the north? Amle mazut rabere de Rav Mori le Ravino le Rav Yehuda nami mai de Israbi mai de lo Israbi. Marzutra, son of Rav Mari, says Ravina, and according to the opinion of Yehuda as well, why not say that for that which is included, meaning placing hands on the head of an animal, it was included, and for that which it was not included, meaning slaughter in the north, was not included. Why would one think that the obligation to slaughter in the north applies to the offering of Nachshon merely because the requirement of placing hands applies to that offering? And if you would say that had the verse not excluded the offerings of the princes, I would say that one could derive the requirement for slaughter in the north via a paradigm from all other sin offerings. If so, one could also derive the requirement for placing hands on the head of an animal itself via the same paradigm. Rather, the reason that the requirement of placing hands cannot be derived via a paradigm is that we do not learn the requirements of the sin offering of Nachshon, which was for the time of the inauguration of the tabernacle alone, from the requirements of sin offerings applicable to all generations. So too, the requirement of slaughter in the north cannot be derived via a paradigm because we do not learn the requirements of the sin offering of Nachshon, which was for the time of the inauguration of the tabernacle alone, from the requirement of sin offerings applicable to all generations. Ela oisoi taun safun. Rather, the term it, stated with regard to the sin offering of a king, serves to teach that it must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard, but the one who slaughters it does not need to stand in the north when he slaughters. The offering would be valid even if you were to stand in the south of the courtyard and use a long knife to slaughter the animal that is positioned in the north. Rabbi Achia nafko ditanya, Rabbi Achia oimeil, Ishach adoyter al yerech hamizbeach sefoina mal tabanoimo. The Gemara challenges this. The halacha of the one who slaughters has already been derived from the statement of Rabbi Achia, as it is taught in the Braita. Rabbi Achia says, the verse states with regard to the burnt offering, and he shall slaughter it on the side of the altar northward before God, Leviticus 1:11. Why must the verse state the exclusionary term it? Lefi shebasinu bim mekabil shoyim b'tzafon mekabil b'tzafoin v'im avim b'daroim mekim b'tzafoin pasul yochel av ze kein tam loimal oisoi oisa b'tzafon v'lo ashochet tzorich liyois oimid b'tzafoin. He explains, since we have found that the priest stands in the north and collects the blood from the neck of the animal in the north, and if he stood in the south and collected the blood in the north, the offering is disqualified. One might have thought that this is so also with regard to this one who slaughters the offering. Therefore the verse states, and he shall slaughter it, to teach that the animal must be in the north, but the one who slaughters does not have to be standing in the north of the temple courtyard when he slaughters the animal. The question returns, what is derived from the exclusionary term it, stated with regard to the sin offering of a king? Ela oisoy b'tzafon ve'in ben oif b'tzafon so gedai techamina leise b'kal v'choimer mi ben soin Uma ben son shelo kavalo kohen kavalo tzafon ben osh kavalo kohen enodin shinikva lo tzafon. The Gemara answers, rather the term it, stated with regard to the sin offering of a king, serves to teach that a goat brought as a sin offering, must be slaughtered in the north, but a bird brought as an offering does not need to be killed in the north. It might enter your mind to say, let it be derived that a bird must be killed in the north by a kal v'chomer inference from the halach of a sheep, as follows: just as in the case of a sheep, for a sheep brought as a burnt offering, that the Torah did not fix that its slaughter must be performed by a priest, yet nevertheless it is fixed that its slaughter must be in the north with regard to a bird offering, for which the Torah did fix that its slaughter must be performed by a priest. Is it not logical, all the more so, that the Torah should also fix its slaughter in the north? Therefore the verse states it, to exclude a bird from the requirement of being killed in the north. Ma leben son shikein kavalo kli. The Gemara questions a logical inference. One cannot derive the halacha of a bird offering from the halacha of a sheep offering. As what is notable about a sheep offering? It is notable in that the Torah fixed the requirement that it be slaughtered with a utensil, meaning a knife. By contrast, a bird is killed by the priest pinching the nape of its neck with his fingernail without using a utensil. Therefore, the term it cannot serve to counter this derivation. If so, there is no reason to think that a bird should also have to be killed in the north, and the term it is not necessary to exclude this possibility. Ela also b'tzafon v'in Pesach b'tzafon Pesach min Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov nafka. The Gemara explains, rather, the term it, stated with regard to the sin offering of the king, serves to teach that the goat of the king, is slaughtered in the north, but the paschal offering is not slaughtered in the north. The Gemara raises a difficulty. The halacha that the paschal offering need not be slaughtered in the north is not derived from the term it, but rather is derived as stated by Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer Yachol Yehei HaPesach Ton Tzafon V'dinu Uma Oile Shelo Kavala Zman B'Shchito Kavala B'Tzafoin Pesach Shekavala B'Zman Shchita Soi Eino Edin Shekavala Tzafon. As it is taught in the Brisa, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, one might have thought that a paschal offering requires slaughter in the north, and this can be derived through a logical inference, just as in the case of a burnt offering, for which the Torah did not fix a time for its slaughter, yet fixed that it requires slaughter in the north. With regard to a paschal offering, for which the Torah fixed a time for its slaughter, meaning it must be slaughtered in the afternoon of the 14th day of Nisan, is it not logical that the Torah would fix that it must be slaughtered in the north? Therefore, the verse states it to exclude the paschal offering from the requirement to slaughter in the north. Ma le'oila shekain kalil. The Gemara questions the logical inference. One cannot derive the halacha of a paschal offering from the halacha of a burnt offering, and as what is notable about a burnt offering, it is notable in that the Torah teaches that it is entirely burned on the altar. This is not so with regard to a paschal offering. The Gemara continues, if you would suggest learning a logical inference from the halacha of a sin offering, which is not entirely burned upon the altar, yet is slaughtered only in the north, this too can be refuted, as what is notable about a sin offering? It is notable in that it has the power to atone for those sins liable for punishment by excision from the world to come, which is kared, which is not with regard to a paschal offering. The Gemara continues, if you would suggest learning a logical inference from the halacha of a guilt offering, which is not entirely burned, does not atone for those sins liable for the punishment by kared, and is slaughtered only in the north, this too can be refuted. As what is notable about a guilt offering is notable in that it is an offering of the most sacred order, which is not so with regard to a paschal offering. The Gemara adds, having noted this distinction between guilt offering and a paschal offering, one can say that for all of these three offerings, the halacha of a paschal offering cannot be derived from them either, since each of them is an offering of the most sacred order. The Gemara returns. Hold on. The Gemara returns to the earlier inference. Rather, one second. Just one moment. Pause. The Gemara returns to the earlier inference. Rather, the term it teaches, as we said initially, it, meaning the animal, must be standing in the north, but the one who slaughters the animal does not have to stand in the north. And that which is difficult for you, that we derive halacha from the statement of Rabbi Achia, is in fact not difficult. The derivation of Rabbi Achia from the term it does not come to exclude one who slaughters from the requirement to slaughter in the north, since that is known already from the term it, stated with regard to the sin offering of a king. Rather, this is what Rabbi Achia is saying. The one who slaughters the animal does not have to stand in the north, by inference. The one who collects the blood from the neck of the animal must stand in the north. Mikabel mi lakach v'lakach nafke lakach v'lakach v'lo mashmale. The Gemara questions this inference. The halacha that the one who collects the blood from the neck of the animal must stand in the north is derived from the fact that the Torah could have written the priest shall take, and instead writes the priest shall take. Leviticus 4:34. The Gemara explains this Tana does not learn anything from this distinction between the priest shall take and the priest shall take, since he does not agree with this derivation. He must therefore derive the requirement to collect the blood while standing in the north from a different verse. The Mishnah teaches, and one is liable to be flogged for kneading the meal offering, and for shaping it, and for baking it. If the meal offering becomes leaven, Rav Papa said, if one baked a meal offering as leaven, he is flogged with two sets of lashes, one for shaping the dough and one for baking it. The Gemara raises a difficulty, but he said in the Braita, just as the act of baking is notable in that it is a single action and one is liable to receive lashes for it by itself, This indicates that one receives one set of lashes for baking a meal offering as leavened bread, not two. Lokashia. The Gemara answers, this is not difficult, as this statement of the Braita, meaning that one receives a single set of lashes for baking, is referring to a case where he shaped the dough and he, the same person, also baked it. Since he already incurred liability to receive lashes for shaping the dough before he baked it, he is not liable again for shaping when he bakes it. That statement of Rav Papa, that one who bakes the dough is liable to receive two sets of lashes, is referring to a situation where another person shaped the dough and gave the shaped dough to him. He baked it. Although the one who shaped it is liable to receive lashes for the act of shaping, nevertheless, the one who bakes it is liable to receive two sets of lashes, as his act of baking also completed the shaping of the dough. Tanu Rabbanan b'chol she'achazo dam makizin oiso yesadam imkom shein oisin b'mum v'in makizin yesadam imkom shein oisin b'mum divrei Rabbi Meir. The Gemara continues to discuss the leavening of a meal offering. The sages taught in a Braita to Sefta Bechorot 3:6. In the case of an unblemished firstborn kosher animal whose blood circulation is constricted, a condition that can be healed only through bloodletting, one may let the animal's blood by cutting it in a place where the incision does not cause permanent blemish, but one may not let the animal's blood by cutting it in a place where the incision causes a permanent blemish, as it is prohibited to intentionally cause a blemish in a firstborn animal. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Yakis, and the rabbis say one may even let the animal's blood by cutting it in a place where the incision causes a permanent blemish, provided that he does not slaughter the animal on the basis of that blemish, even though in general a firstborn animal may be slaughtered once it develops a permanent blemish. The rabbis maintain that in this case, since he caused the blemish himself, he may not slaughter it until it develops a different, unrelated blemish. Rabbi Shimon says, now turn to 56b, just to complete the idea. Af nishchat al oisoy mum. Yud omer afilu meis, ein malkizin lo es hadam. The animal may be, Rabbi Shimon says that the animal may even be slaughtered on the basis of that blemish. Rabbi Yehuda says, even if the firstborn would die, if its blood is not let, one may not let its blood at all. Okay, stop here.